She said I was paranoid. 2 days later, her cousin texted me by mistake, asking if she'd told me they'd spent the weekend together at that same hotel again. My name's Alex Carter, 31, from Dallas, and if you asked anyone who knows me, they'd tell you I'm the calm one in every storm. I don't yell, don't snoop, don't accuse. I analyze. That's what I do. I work in cybersecurity. I see patterns. And lately, the pattern in my relationship with Mia, my girlfriend of nearly 3 years, had shifted in ways that set every quiet alarm in my head ringing. It started small. Unlocked phones suddenly locked, notifications silenced, that reflexive tilt of the screen away from me when she texted. I noticed but said nothing. Then came the night at a friend's bar party when she decided to turn my silence into a punchline. Alex thinks I'm cheating because I'm too pretty for him. She laughed, her hand on her friend's shoulder. Everyone joined in. I didn't. Then, twisting the knife. He even checks my phone like I'm some criminal. I didn't. But after that, I didn't need to. The room went quiet around me for weeks after that night. Suddenly, I was the jealous boyfriend, the controlling one, the insecure tech guy. She used that word, paranoid, like a weapon every time I asked a normal question. Where were you last night? With friends. Which friends? Why do you always interrogate me? The irony was, I never once looked at her phone. But the day I finally did, everything changed. 2 days after one of those fights, the kind that starts over nothing and ends with slammed doors and cold silence, I got a text that didn't make sense at first. Unknown number. No greeting. Just, did she tell you we spent the weekend at that same hotel again? There was a photo icon next to the number, a profile picture of a smiling guy in sunglasses. The name under it, Dan. My stomach dropped, because I'd seen that face before. In Mia's Instagram stories, tagged at brunches and pool parties, always captioned, family time. Dan was supposed to be her cousin. For a second, I thought it was a prank, maybe one of my friends messing around. But then the message marked as read. No follow-up, just a quiet digital hit and run. I stared at it for 10 minutes before replying. I think you texted the wrong number. No response. No typing bubble. Just silence heavy enough to feel like confirmation. That evening, Mia came home late. Hair freshly curled. Perfume stronger than usual. When I asked where she'd been, she rolled her eyes. Work dinner. Why? Her phone buzzed on the counter. I glanced at it. Unknown number. You didn't warn him? She snatched it up like it was a grenade. What's that? I asked. Spam. Chill, Alex. Her tone cracked on chill. She grabbed her coat and disappeared into the bedroom, mumbling something about privacy and trust issues. An hour later, she emerged all smiles, kissed me on the cheek, and said she was exhausted. But her eyes never met mine. That was the night I realized the truth doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers in the gaps between lies. At 1:13 a.m., my phone pinged again. This time it was her Instagram story. A boomerang clip of hotel curtains fluttering in the breeze. I knew that room, downtown Austin, the boutique hotel we'd stayed in for her birthday last year. Same floor-to-ceiling windows. Same city view. Same blue-gray curtains. But now there was a new detail. Barely visible in the corner of the frame, but impossible to miss once I saw it. A man's dress shirt, white, hanging neatly over the chair by the window. Not mine. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I watched. The next day, the story vanished, but I'd already screen recorded it. Then I did what I do best. I started looking at patterns. Her calendar girls' weekend in Austin matched the hotel's tagged location from Dan's post 2 months ago. Same table. Same wine bottle. Her Instagram caption read, "Cousin bonding time clinking glasses." His said, "She makes me forget the rest of the world. Different audiences. Different narratives." I didn't tell her I'd seen it. Instead, I started paying attention to everything else. Her sudden insistence on FaceTiming from the car instead of her hotel room. The way she'd end calls abruptly when background noise shifted from chatter to quiet. Then came the real twist. 3 nights later, I received an airdrop request while sitting alone at a coffee shop. File name. He's not her cousin.mov. By the time that weekend rolled around, I'd stopped sleeping properly. Every night I'd lie awake replaying old conversations. Her tone, her timing, the gaps between her words. Still, I told myself to hold it together, at least until I had proof. Her best friend Olivia was having a birthday dinner downtown, and Mia insisted we go to show everyone we're fine. I smiled, nodded, and buttoned up a shirt that suddenly felt too tight at the collar. The restaurant was one of those places where everyone knows everyone. Laughing too loudly, hugging too long. I kept my distance, nursing a beer and pretending not to notice the sideways glances. Halfway through dessert, Olivia's boyfriend raised his glass and grinned at me. "Hey, Alex," he said. "You gonna let Mia take another one of those business trips?" The table erupted in laughter. Mia didn't even flinch. She just leaned back, smirked, and said, "Maybe he should try trusting me for once." That was it, the line, the smirk, the laughter that followed. I stood up, quietly placed a few bills on the table, and walked out without a word. The laughter dimmed behind me as the door shut, and for the first time in months, I felt something sharp and clean cut through the fog. Clarity. At home, I poured myself a drink and opened our shared credit card account. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I found it instantly. The same hotel name appeared over and over every other weekend. The Paramount Austin. The charges were identical down to the cent. Friday check-ins. Sunday checkouts. I printed the receipts, all of them, and laid them across the dining table like evidence in a case file. 8 weekends. 8 lies. Around 2 a.m., I heard her car in the driveway. She came in humming softly, her hair slightly damp, makeup perfect. She froze when she saw the table covered in papers. "What's this?" she asked, dropping her purse. "Your business trips," I said. My voice was steady, colder than I felt. She glanced at the receipts, then back at me. No panic, no guilt, just irritation. "You really went through my statements? That's creepy, Alex." "Not as creepy as lying to someone's face every weekend." She sighed, walked past me to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water. "You're exhausting," she said finally, like I was a tedious coworker instead of her boyfriend. When I didn't respond, she turned, her voice soft but edged with steel. "Maybe," she said, "you should take a break from us." She grabbed her keys, her tone almost rehearsed, like she'd been waiting to say it. Then she left again, slamming the door behind her. I sat there alone, surrounded by proof, feeling strangely calm. The kind of calm that comes right before a storm. Because in that moment, I knew I wasn't paranoid. I was being played. And Mia was about to learn that paranoia and precision look a lot alike when the wrong person gets accused. She came back the next evening like nothing had happened. Hair tied up, latte in hand, humming to herself. I was waiting in the kitchen, lights on, everything on the table. The printed receipts, screenshots of her Instagram stories, and the airdropped video I still hadn't opened. "Hey," she said casually, setting down her bag. "You look serious. What's wrong now?" "Nothing," I said quietly. "You wanted a break, remember? I just thought we'd start it properly." She frowned. "What are you talking about?" I gestured toward the table. "These. Receipts. Screenshots. Photos." Her own words and pictures staring back at her like a mirror she didn't want to look into. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't accuse. Just waited. Her eyes flicked across the papers, then froze. The color drained from her face. "You went through my money?" she snapped. "That's a privacy invasion." "It's a joint account," I said, still calm. "And this," I tapped the receipts, "is called proof." She stepped back, breathing hard, hands shaking more from fury than guilt. "You're unbelievable. You're twisting everything. This is gaslighting. This is control. This is abuse." She was throwing buzzwords like darts, hoping one would stick. But her voice cracked on abuse. And then the tears started. Perfect, practice tears. "Okay," she choked. "Yes, there was someone. At first." I tilted my head. "At first." The silence stretched until it snapped. "It wasn't serious," she whispered. "Dan, it started before we moved in together. Then I met Eric, from work. And there was one more, but it didn't mean anything. Just an old friend. It's not what you think. 3 people, I said slowly. That's not confusion, Mia. That's a hobby. She tried to grab her phone, but I picked it up first, flipped the screen toward her, the airdropped video. I hit play. The footage was short, grainy, taken through a cracked doorway. Mia in that same hotel room, laughing, kissing someone who wasn't me. The same curtains, the same shirt on the chair. Her voice clear as glass. Don't worry. He still thinks I'm in Houston. He's too paranoid to leave. I paused the video. The sound of her own words filled the room like static. She dropped into a chair, face buried in her hands. For the first time, she didn't have a defense. Just quiet, wet breathing and the occasional half-whispered excuse. I was lonely. You were distant. You work too much. Stop, I said. You don't get to rewrite the story now. She looked up, mascara smudged, eyes wide. So what now? You gonna kick me out? Destroy my life? I nodded once. You've got 24 hours to pack your things. Leave the keys on the counter. She stared at me like I'd just spoken another language. Then, through half-sobs, she laughed. The same sharp, brittle laugh that used to charm people at parties. You'll never find someone like me, she said. I stood, folded the papers and walked to the door. Good, I said. That's the point. She didn't follow me. She didn't have to. The silence that settled behind me when I closed the door said everything that words couldn't. The end of something built on lies, collapsing imperfect, deserved quiet. By sunrise, she was gone. Her side of the closet emptied, bathroom shelves stripped, not even a note left behind. For a moment, I thought that was the end of it. Clean cut, quiet exit, no drama. I should have known better. That afternoon, her name popped up on my feed again. A selfie, soft lighting, red eyes, faint smile. Caption: finally free from control sparkles. Within minutes, the comments poured in. You go girl. Toxic men are the worst. Proud of you for choosing yourself. Then came the kicker. She posted a blurred photo of me mid-argument from months ago, caught in a half-frame, mouth open mid-sentence, and wrote, "This is what emotional abuse looks like." My phone started buzzing like a fire alarm. Mutual friends texting, "Dude, what the hell?" And, "We didn't know you were like that." One even unfollowed me with a final DM. "I hope you get help." I didn't respond to any of them. I didn't have to. Screenshots, timestamps, and bank statements don't lie. People do. Then her mom called. "Alex," she said, voice shaking. "Mia's been crying non-stop. How could you throw her out like that? You know she has nowhere to go." "She had 3 places to go," I said quietly. Austin, her coworker's apartment, or her cousin's hotel room. "She'll manage." Click. End of call. For a few days, silence. I started sleeping again. I even changed my route to work, half expecting to see her car somewhere. I didn't. Then, a week later, a plain white envelope arrived in my mailbox. No return address. Inside, a court summons. Mia Patterson versus Alex Carter, Small Claims Court. She was suing me for $6,500 in emotional distress and illegal eviction. I laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because of how predictable it was. She couldn't control me anymore, so she tried to control the narrative. At the hearing, she showed up in a beige suit that looked borrowed, crocodile tears already primed. Her new boyfriend sat in the back row. I recognized him from her tagged posts. Dan, the cousin. The judge was an older woman who'd clearly seen every variety of domestic chaos. Mia launched into her speech. How I'd emotionally isolated her, monitored her finances, forced her out with threats. When it was my turn, I didn't raise my voice once. I just handed over a neatly labeled folder. Screenshots of her Instagram posts bragging about freedom. The text from Dan that started everything. Hotel receipts showing charges under her card. The airdropped video timestamped. The judge scrolled through silently, her expression somewhere between disbelief and exhaustion. Then she looked up at Mia. Ms. Patterson, you're aware this text refers to your boyfriend as paranoid while you were at a hotel with another man, correct? Mia stammered something about jokes and misunderstandings. The judge turned back to me, slid the folder shut, and sighed, the kind of sigh that comes from years of watching people lie to themselves. Case dismissed, she said flatly. And Mr. Carter, change your locks. Mia's face went pale. She stormed out before the clerk finished printing the dismissal order. Dan followed like a shadow. Outside the courthouse, the autumn wind hit sharp and cold. I stood there for a while, watching her car disappear down the street. No satisfaction, no anger, just the kind of stillness that comes after a long storm, when everything's broken, but finally honest. I went home, changed the locks that afternoon, and took down the last photo of us from the hallway shelf. Her smile looked fake now. Maybe it always was. That night, for the first time in months, the house was silent. Not lonely, just mine again. For the first couple of weeks, she kept trying to claw her way back into my attention. Small, petty acts meant to rattle me. Unknown calls that hung up as soon as I answered. Notes slipped under my door with handwriting I knew by heart. You'll regret this. A few fake Instagram accounts followed me, posting vague quotes about men who destroy good women. Classic Mia. Performative chaos disguised as emotion. I didn't respond. Every time I blocked a number, it felt like closing another window she used to crawl through. After a while, she must have realized she wasn't getting the reaction she wanted, because the noise stopped, just like that silence. A month later, I saw her by accident. Grocery store, Saturday morning, fluorescent lights and the hum of refrigerators. She was by the produce aisle, wearing that same oversized beige coat she used to steal from me. But she wasn't alone. The guy with her looked mid-20s, tall, polished, smiling like a man who still believed everything he was told. She spotted me first. For half a second, her face flickered, surprise, maybe guilt. Then it reset into that perfect social mask she wore so well. She laughed too loudly, grabbed the guy by the collar, and kissed him hard enough for the sound to carry. Then she glanced at me as if to say, see, I'm fine. I just nodded, tossed a carton of milk into my basket, and walked past. No bitterness, no need for revenge. Just distance, clean and final. By the time I got home, I realized something strange. I wasn't angry anymore. The apartment felt mine again. I'd sold the couch we picked out together, repainted the walls from soft beige to deep slate blue. The new space didn't remind me of her. It didn't remind me of anyone. Nights were quiet, but not heavy. I started going back to the boxing gym, the one I used to love before I was spending weekends defending myself from invisible accusations. The first time I hit the bag again, the sound echoed like punctuation, the end of a sentence I didn't know I'd been writing for 3 years. I sleep through the night now. No checking my phone for late messages. No waiting for footsteps at 2 a.m. The only light in my room is from the city outside. Steady, harmless, honest. Every now and then, people still ask what happened between us. I just tell them the truth. She called me paranoid, and I believed her for too long. But paranoia is when you imagine danger. What I had was recognition, the quiet realization that something didn't add up, and the courage to face it. So no, I wasn't paranoid. I was the only one willing to see the truth. And if there's one thing I've learned from all of it, it's this. When someone keeps calling you paranoid, it's usually because they're terrified you're about to catch them. That's the thing about truth, it doesn't need to shout. It just waits, patient and steady, for the lies to fall apart.